Hey, this is Greta Van Fleet, and you're listening to 88.3 WMTS, Murfreesboro.
I was built with labor and with love. It only took 1 year, and it wasn't long before the calls to use me would appear. I was a multi-purpose vessel, all ready for the sea. So many merchants boarded for their cargo and for me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to LUVOL On Air. I am here today with my very, very special guest.
Carter Elliot.
Hello, Carter.
Hi.
How are you today?
I am all right. How are you?
I am doing very good. I'm going to adjust the levels here a little bit. Can you just talk real quick?
Check 1 2. Hello WMTS.
Okay, that should be good. Is it too loud on the headphones?
No, we're good.
All right. I think that's all out of the way. Let's begin with introductions. Carter, introduce yourself.
All right, so my name is Carter Elliot. Like I said before, I'm 21 years old. I am a senior here at MTSU. I am actually graduating next week.
Woot woot.
I am originally from Pearl, Mississippi. I spent 2 years at the University of North Texas, and I spent 2.5 years here, and I play piano and guitar and bass and drums and all sorts of other stuff that
A long list.
I don't really mention too terribly much. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So, you make music,
Yes.
obviously.
Yes.
We wouldn't be here if you didn't.
Yes.
So how did you get your start making music?
So I was born in 2003. My parents were and still are very big James Taylor fans. And right a few months before I was born, he had just released a new album called October Road. And they played that all the time. He had come out with 2 live DVDs by that point. They played those all the time. And so James Taylor was just kind of a thing that just, like, I don't know, seeped into little baby brain Carter over here. It was pretty much the only thing that could get me to stop crying. I grew up in Mississippi, like I said, and we didn't get it really, really bad during Hurricane Katrina, but we did get bad storms and power outages when it rolled through in 2005. And when the power went out, apparently I couldn't stop crying, so they had to go get a battery-operated CD player and put in a James Taylor CD to get me to shut up, you know. So I started singing along to, like, the CDs and the DVDs, and after a while my grandmother was like, he's singing pretty accurately, let's see if he's got perfect pitch. Went over to the piano and was like, what's this note? You know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we found out I had perfect pitch. Blessing and a curse, really, but I'll talk more about that later. She pushed for me to have piano lessons. There used to be a chain of 4 stores in Mississippi called Mississippi Music. They have since, unfortunately, maybe fortunately, unfortunately, been bought out by Music and Arts. But back when they were Mississippi Music, they were running a special on piano lessons, and my grandmother was like, this is my mom's mom, by the way. Hi, Nana, if you're listening.
Hello, Nana.
But
My mom's mom was also named Nana.
Nice,
So we're both
nice.
saying hi to 2 different people.
Nice. Yeah.
Hi, Nana and Nana.
She was pushing for my mom to, get me those lessons, and my mom was like, okay, but you drive. And so we tried it. I took like a duck to water, and I've been playing piano since the age of like 4 now, so about 17 years, and it's just been a big old journey from there.
Awesome. Well, you talked a little bit about James Taylor being an inspiration nearly from birth.
Oh, yeah.
Who or what are some of your other biggest inspirations?
So, jumping off of James Taylor, I'm a big fan of Laurel Canyon singer-songwriters like Joni Mitchell, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, although my opinion of them tends to fluctuate depending on the day. It's either the Crosby is best, the Stills is best, or the Nash is best. And sometimes why? Neil Young.
I was just about to ask.
Yes. Neil Young is a very interesting figure. I like some of his stuff, but I'm not as influenced by it. Randy Newman is another big one, especially this year. huge influence as far as like piano composition and arrangements. You're gonna hear something on the playlist later from the piano album, which we'll talk about later, called Randall's Office. That's a nod to Randy Newman. In terms of singer-songwriters, still more recently, Father John Misty is a big one. I've started playing one of his songs live with my band, which doesn't have a name, it's just and band. But the song is Hang Out at the Gallows, and something from his new album, or one or two tracks from his new album, are also on this playlist because his new album is nearly flawless. As far as jazz, I grew up with Ella Fitzgerald's compilation album, The Best of the Songbooks. An old church friend, introduced me to Thelonious Monk, and that just made me spiral into jazz piano. There used to be a radio program on WJSU, Jackson State University in Mississippi, their local radio station, called The Roots of Smooth, and they've taken it off since, unfortunately, but that led me into Herbie Hancock and Ahmad Jamal, who are really, really great pianists. So my influences are very, very various and sundry.
Yeah, it's a very wide range that you listed there.
Yes.
Now, your first single came out in 2021 called Child of the Small.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about the writing and recording process for it?
Yeah, so Child of the Small is not the first song I wrote, but is the first song I released. I like to say that I've been writing songs since I was 12, and I've been writing good songs since I was about like 18, 19.
That's so real.
Yeah. I wrote Child of the Small in April of 2021, so I was 18 years old. And it was based off of, I wrote it in response to a text conversation I had with a very, very, very dear friend of mine who actually did the cover art.
Oh, really?
For this, yeah. I asked her to do it, and she really knocked it out of the park. But we were both going through our own struggles in life at that point. So I kind of designed it as kind of the first two verses before the chorus are me speaking to her, things that I would have said to her, and the second two verses before the second chorus, in between those two choruses, are things that I took from what she had said to me. The recording process was very, very homemade, and you can tell from the production value on it that it's very, very homemade. I was not the strongest singer when I was 18. Even now my throat's a little finicky, but that's just due to the weather. But I recorded it in an apartment I was subletting in Denton, Texas. I was still living in Texas at that point, in the middle of the sweltering July.
No.
July in Denton is a bugaboo. In 2021, I can't remember how hot it was, but in 2022, it got up to like 115 degrees, 115. My shoes were melting. I was having heat fatigue. But
Could you cook an egg on the sidewalk?
I did not try, but I'm sure you could. Just like slowly poach it or something. I don't know. Wait, poaching involves water. There wouldn't have been any water. Anyway, I recorded and kind of like tried to mix it and everything through July of 2021, and it was my first foray into like trying to get something out. So I was doing everything very homemade, very little budget and all that. You know, it is what it is. I still love the song. I've included it in a set list for an upcoming show because it's my first single, and I love it to death. Other people love it to death. I've had questions before because of the production values. Will you take it down? You know, no. It is what it is, and if it's the weakest I ever get, and if my music gets more strong from there, which it has, then that's a good thing.
I definitely agree with that.
Oh yeah.
I think one thing that is really cool to do is just look at an artist's back catalog and look at like their earliest, whether or not their demos are released, or just look at all that, and then look at like some of their newest stuff and see how far they've come. Speaking of how far you've come,
yes,
progress. Let's talk about it.
Progress.
You've got a total of 6 singles across 3 years. Let's see. This is
slow.
I think this is in. Yeah, it seems like in chronological order. Child of the Small, Love Song number 38.
Yep.
High Regard.
Yep.
Closer Than the Farthest.
Yep.
As I Am.
Yep.
And High Water, which is the most recent one.
Yes.
How has your writing and recording process changed over time?
So I'll start with the writing. Through my entire 4.5-year college career, I have had more and more to write about. But ironically, Love Song number 38 was something I wrote when I was 16. It is the only song in my catalog for when I was 16 that I still am not embarrassed to play. I recorded that, however, in 2022 for a thing called Music Makers Cohort, which was put on by the Nashville Public Library and Apple Music and a couple of other programs that banded together. And they were like, make a song, you know. And I was like, how do I do this? You know, we're doing Logic Pro, we're using Dolby Atmos, and I was coming up a little dry, and I was like, Love Song number 38, that's 3 minutes and 30-ish seconds, which is one of the requirements. And 16 tracks was another restriction, so I decided to experiment a little, recorded mostly everything from my bedroom in now Murfreesboro. Used a lot of MIDI tracks for that because, you know, we're going to utilize Logic to the best of its capabilities, right? So a lot of that is MIDI based. That's kind of the one, like, fluke in my catalog, if I had to point out a fluke, because of how MIDI based it is.
Yeah.
High Regard, I wrote when I was 18, recorded when I was 19, released shortly after my 20th birthday, and every now and again I still revisit that song and I'm like, man, you done good. People still tell me that High Regard is a song that they enjoy. I wrote that about my never-ending nerves trying to ask somebody out. They were never-ending then, they are never-ending now.
Another real moment from Carter Elliot.
Oh yeah. The fun fact: the day that I announced High Regard's release, I announced it 10 days before, on February the 1st, 2023. I asked somebody out.
That was the day before you released it, right?
10 days before I released it, when I announced it.
Oh, okay.
She said no.
Oh.
That's okay. We're still in touch. We're still friends. But I was just like, you know, the timing is very coincidental. The closest and the farthest I wrote in December of 2023, and it's one of those that took about an hour to write, and I probably, you know, I again was talking to another friend of mine who had moved very, very far away, and I was just like, yada da 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 da. This is how I feel about keeping in touch, about my long distance friends, and I ended up recording it. The engineer, I recorded the drums separately for the rest. Everything else was in my bedroom, which by this point the sound is getting sleeker. I'm finally knowing what I'm doing with engineering stuff. But the engineer for the drums was Isaiah Vaughn. Shout out to him. He had some extra studio time, and I sent him a demo of The Closest and the Farthest. He was like, hey, I like this song. Let's get it done. We tried to get bass and guitar done in the same studio session, but unfortunately I had a blister from playing someone else's bass too hard and could not get a good take for either one. As I Am is my rawest song. That I have a friend, she was on your show actually, Anna Shenholzer, who both loves this song, and we call it Evil. But she really likes this song, as do I. Both of us so much so that I've decided to put it back in set lists. I wrote it in September of 2023, 1 week after The Closest and the Farthest, about my own insecurities of, like, feeling unloved by my peers, because college can be very, very lonely sometimes.
Another real moment,
Oh, yes. If anything, I'm going to keep it real.
Oh, yeah.
As real as I can.
Please, that's what they come here for.
Yeah, As I Am is the realest of the real. For me, anyway, it was very in the moment. I was just like, why does nobody care? I recorded that and High Water, which I'll talk about in a minute, with the same producer, mix engineer. His name is Jeb. He goes by Jeb.
He's the guy who's running Minecraft right now, isn't he?
What?
Okay, only
Jeb
some people
Bechet.
get that joke, I guess. The guy who's like not CEO of Minecraft, but he's like the lead creative of Minecraft.
I don't
Jeb.
know. He also has produced other people like Emily O'Neill and Jordan Steele. So he's kind of all over the place stylistically. And we decided to work on As I Am as a little acoustic thingy. It's just acoustic guitar and voice to get some ground down for High Water. High Water was written. Why did I say it like that? It reminds me of like Foo Fighters. You know, Foo Fighters. High Water. High Water. High Water was written in early 2023. And by that point, I had moved to Murfreesboro, started taking commercial songwriting classes, and I was like, I really want to talk about something really, really terrible that happened to me, but I don't want to put myself in the driver's seat.
Mm-hmm.
I know, I'll make it a sabotage sailboat.
It's a very fun metaphor.
Yeah, and I started. Yeah, thank you. I started writing the second verse first. My sails were full. I was riding high, then someone burned my mast because that's what I felt happened. I had, in this particular situation, I had no direction to go. I was free floating. I was like drifting all over the place. I was crashing out, but I didn't want to be like. I was drifting, I was free-floating, I was all over the place, I was crashing out. So I put it in the boat metaphor, and it was like, the mast is gone, the anchor is gone, the captain and the crew are gone, it's just the boat. I also, that is the first single out of 6 to have other musicians on it. Clay Skiles played drums and percussion. Josh Garner played electric rhythm guitar, and I handled the rest. Jeb Bechet again did production. And that's all the singles, but I'm still continuing to write, and after the reception that High Water got, I'm trying to lean more into that grit, that more realness. That and As I Am really are the strong ones. Child of the Small would be so strong if I could have produced it. But High Water and As I Am were so well received that I was just like, this grit thing is working out. I don't have to be so polite. And I've been trying to alter, not like actively trying, but I've just been trying to relax a lot more. Not be like so, people will care so much if I say this or that or the other. At the end of the day, it's art.
Mm-hmm. I do really like the direction that you're going. I remember seeing you play High Water way back in sometime during the spring semester. It was the NSAI Dapper Owl.
Oh yeah, the round, yeah.
And I went up to you after you played, and I was like, dude, High Water, so good. And you said, I think you said, it'll come out in June, maybe. And then it came out
in October.
October.
Oh man, yeah. First of all, I work slow. Second of all, I work so slow. It makes for strong songs, but it also makes people impatient. Like, I'm a big fan of Peter Gabriel, another huge influence. His most recent album, I.O., which I have a track from on the playlist, Playing for Time, came out in 2023. He started work on it in 1995.
Oh my gosh.
28 freaking years. I work slow. Also, getting other people's schedules to coordinate.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I will not fault anybody. We are all busy people.
Especially in college.
In college, after college. I mean, Josh had graduated by that point. I think Clay has graduated. They were all like graduate students or graduated by that point. But because of that, they were all busy working. So there were a lot of nuances. Like High Water was the most difficult to record because we were bouncing back ideas as to where like there was one point where I was just like, please let me cut the bass. It's 1 octave too high. We were trying to figure out, and we ended up doing that, so I played bass on that recording. We were trying to figure out how much guitar should go in there. I had like 10 electric guitar tracks at one point. We pared it down so much. So that was part of it. Initial sessions were like May the 14th. We got done within August.
Darn. Dang.
Yeah. Dang diddly darn, Bob Howdy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's skip ahead a little bit. You just released an album.
Yes.
A piano album.
Yes.
Called At Long Last, ... at the Piano. Where'd the idea to make a piano album come from?
So this summer I was working a job that was kind of purgatorial. I will say it like that. It was a lot of time for me to listen to music, and I got so bored of going through Apple Music. By the way, I use Apple Music because fun. I love Apple Music so much. But anyway, I got tired of surfing through Apple Music. I got tired of going through Randy Newman's discography because I was going through that heavily and just crying because it was so beautiful or whatnot. I'm kind of kidding. Kind of. There were a couple of times. I'm kidding. I don't do that in the workplace. But I got tired of doing that.
At home and in my car, absolutely.
At home and in my car, yes. But they go home. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're all good.
So I went to my voice memos, and I found some from like 2021 and 2022, back from my time at the University of North Texas. I dormed both of my years at UNT. Rollins Hall the first year, Honors Hall the second year. They're both Honors College dorms, just Rollins was for freshmen and Honors was for upperclassmen. Both of them had practice rooms with pianos in them, and sometimes when I was feeling real low, I'd go down there, and I'd just like play. Just make stuff up. The tag on that album is so I'll get to that in a minute. Actually, I just make stuff up. Some of those voice memos were strong enough for me to be like, should I bring these back from the dead? Some of them were just like all over the place. So I started being like, maybe I should go make a Panana album, and so I contacted Professor Bill Crabtree in the audio department here and was like, hey, remember you said, I could have some studio time? I want to record some piano in Studio B. Studio B on MTSU has this really, really beautiful Yamaha grand piano, and I love Yamaha to bits. It's the best piano on campus, in my opinion. And he's like, do you have an engineer? And I found an engineer in like 30 minutes. Her name is Allison Wildrick. We had worked in the context of an academic thing before. She's a grad student, so she engineered a couple of sessions I was a part of. And she was like, absolutely. And so she set up the mic. She got the sound dialed in. There's just a little skosh of reverb and nothing too fancy in there. And I told her the plan because people were like, you're a great pianist. You could put your stuff on like study playlist and relaxation playlist and coffee shop stuff. So I told her that plan, and she was like, okay, I'm going to bring some work and a chai to drink. And it was either a chai or a chai latte. I can't remember. It was a chai something. But she sat back while I just like played. I ended up with I played for about 105 minutes. 92 of those were usable, so that's an hour and 45 minutes. An hour and 32 is usable. I actually pared it down to an hour and 28. I actually struck one, but most of those that didn't have like noticeable blemishes or anything like that, because Butterfingers over here, I threw in. So there are 14 tracks on this album. The first and the last are like pre-made, pre-composed. I made them just mucking about with. One of them was guitar based before I translated it to piano, but I was just like, you know what? This could be strong for piano. They're Winter's Afternoon and Fireplace / Winter's Afternoon and Reprise. The other 12 are strictly improvised. The tag is Improvisations and Compositions Volume 1, meaning that there will be a Volume 2 in the future. I'm thinking like February the 21st, 2025. I'm hoping.
Early 2025.
Early 2025. I want to say February the 21st because February the 14th is Valentine's Day, and I'm going to see Father John Misty in concert, and I am not releasing my album on both momentous occasions. Romantic and not so romantic. So, yeah, the piano album is something that I should have done a long time ago, but I'm glad I got to do it now. And I'm glad that I got such a strong engineer to work with me. The graphic design was also done by somebody I want to shout out. Her name is Libby Switzer. She is a killer graphic designer. She actually provided me with a back cover as well so that I could go press CDs, and they're currently in production as well. So, I don't know where the market for CDs is, but there is a market somewhere. I'm not sure.
There's a pretty good market
there
on
is
campus,
a pretty
I
good
think. Yeah.
Maybe? You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. They're currently in production.
You could send them in to a certain radio station, cough WMTS, and then we could we have like a process to review them and then put them on air.
Oh,
Yeah,
sweet.
I don't think I can review it because it'd be kind of a conflict of interest, but someone
okay.
in the station can.
That's okay. I'll when they get pressed, I'll reserve a copy.
Awesome.
But she provided me with some great graphic design. Allison Wildrick also shot the photo that's on the front and the back cover, coming soon. But Livy Switzer did a really, really good job. She's also an incredible friend of mine. She and her fiance, Will, are incredible people. And I'm so happy that all of these people I've mentioned prior are my friends.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Speaking of friends,
Yes.
got a friend song coming up, When He's Gone by Ingrid, right before
Yeah.
the break. Would you like talk a little bit about how you know Ingrid, why you put this song on the playlist?
Yeah, so this is kind of a rare, odd occasion because I met Ingrid at this, how do I describe it? There was an opportunity that Professor Odie Blackman in the songwriting department gave me that reached out and was like, we're going to do this thing that's going to be like co-writing in Nashville with a couple of, students based in London and students based in Sweden. Ingrid was a representative from the London institution. I think it was like ICMP, I hope I got that acronym right. I didn't look it up beforehand. I'm sorry. But
She'll chew you out if you're wrong.
I got yes, exactly. I got threed up. That's not a great way to say it. I was put in a group with her and one other person named Delphi, who's not on this playlist, but is also a very, very strong artist. And we co-wrote a really, really good song together. Ingrid just started releasing music this year. She's released 3 singles, and When He's Gone is my absolute favorite. She is kind of mastering. She's in Finland, I think now, or maybe London. I can't remember which. I think she flits back and forth, but she is kind of mastering the country pop sound, kind of airing more towards more acoustic country, maybe more Americana leaning. For this release specifically, the reason I like it is because the lyricism is on point, which it's on point with all 3 of her songs that are out currently, but the sonic palette of it, like the acoustic guitar is placed perfectly. The percussion and the pedal steel kind of remind me of one of those old James Taylor recordings that he resurfaced for one of his later tours, kind of that nice slick feeling from one of the old recordings.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a great crossroads of everything I would love about my influences in country music.
Awesome. Yeah, so here is When He's Gone by Ingrid, and then we're going to go to a quick break and be right back here on WMTS 88.3 Murfreesboro.
Get the best of you. I know that heartache wants to cut through to your soul, as if staying lasts for the last.
And welcome back. If you are just now tuning in, I'm here with my guest, Carter Elliot, in the studio. Carter, why don't you go ahead and say hi once more?
Hey, it's Carter Elliot.
Say it one more time.
Hi, WMTS, it's Carter Elliot.
Thank you. Anyway,
Once more with feeling.
collaboration.
Yay!
Isn't that a fun thing? You do it a lot?
It is it's a fun thing. I do it pretty frequently. I wish I did it more. Or like, as much as I can, really. Collaboration takes form for me in a couple of different ways. Since I play a few different instruments, a few being a very underwhelming way to say it. Since I play quite a few instruments, I am called upon by people to, play for sessions, play for like piano and guitar mainly, For sessions and for shows, sometimes I get those through like Nashville Musicians Finder. I actually work with somebody now. Jenny Grace is her name, playing, of all things, electric guitar, which is not my main instrument, but I still play it, for her shows. I'm doing a couple of those in 2025, and then I'm working on one of her other projects, playing some string synthesizers or some string emulations. But another part of collaboration is like forming a band was a really big step for me. I am all big on the musical collaborations. I love playing music with people. I love working together to get like a really beautiful sound with people. So right now my band currently consists of Slade Moore from Munkin on the drums. Munkin and Westphalia. Yeah, Munkin's cool.
Great
They're on the
band.
playlist as well. Then there's Josh Garner on the electric guitar, and for an upcoming show he will be singing. He is the front man of a band called Water Street. He also plays with the Layla Rose Band and Emily O'Neill. And then there's Garrett Tonos on the bass. He has worked with so many artists that I can't remember that it's crazy, both producing and playing bass. He's in cahoots with more local Brady Armstrong. He's worked with, again, Allison Wildrick. And those are just two names and very local names out of a plethora of people that he works with. Co-writing is another form of collaboration and probably the biggest one in this town. Not my favorite, but the biggest. My favorite is just the musical collaborations because we get to, go honk honk brr and make a great sound. So why did I just do that? I'm on the air, guys.
That's okay. I will say that's exactly something that Anna Shinholzer would say. She might have even said that exact thing during our interview.
Did she go honk honk brr?
Maybe. If not during the interview, then definitely at some point when I've talked to her.
Oh, that's great.
If you'd like to figure out if you went honk honk brr, you can find my interview with Anna Shinholster on my YouTube channel, LUVOL. I'll plug that again later.
I will be scrubbing. I tuned in for the first 50 minutes and then had to rush in somewhere. So, but anyway, it was a cool interview. But she's actually singing backup vocals for me on a show next pretty soon. And I've also co-written with her. Mm-hmm. I've co-written with Josie James,
another
friend
of the not friend of the channel, friend of the show.
Friend of the show, yeah. I've co-written one of my favorite co-writes that I still play live is a song called Smile, which I co-wrote as a class assignment with somebody named Terry Bush, which has not been recorded or released yet, but gets a lot of time live. That's a fun one. Again, most of my co-writes have come from class assignments, just like potluck pairings or just random pairings from professors, and they've led to some interesting results. I co-write with Britt Clark. We've gotten at least one strong song, and I will be working with her as a musician next month for some of her recordings. I also work with a mutual friend of Britt's and mine, Kira. Yes, I want to make sure I pronounced it right. It's been a long day, y'all. Kira Morgan, who's also on the playlist. When we get to her song, it's called Hello. I've got I tweaked a couple of lines in there, kind of polished that up, so I got a co-writing stake in it. But our big Our big song that we actually co-wrote is Frankenstein, which came out in July and is a true co-write. We had a ball with that. I've also written with I've written with mostly like Murfreesboro talent, which has been...
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah,
because you live here.
It's been very fun. There are still people I do want to co-write with. Chris Jordan, I have not forgotten about you. I've just been very, very busy, and I'm sorry. But co-writing is the biggest, most regarded part of collaboration in Murfreesboro. Mm-hmm. And I've been doing a lot of that this year for classes.
I do want to mention real quick, Chris Jordan, another friend of the show.
Yes.
He was the guy I interviewed last. So who would you say is like your dream collaboration, dead or alive?
I would say James Taylor. Duh.
You know what? Checks out.
Biggest, earliest influence. However, second, like, big runner-up, Father John Misty. Fun story. Over the Thanksgiving break, I went back to Mississippi. His new album, Mahash Mashana, was hot on my ears. It's the most intense listening experience I've had in the past 5 years, which is big. Real big. Really, really good album. So I posted a little snippet to my Instagram story of just like, currently seeking ends to be a part of Father John Misty's touring band. Like 18 minutes later, he likes my story. I'm just like, what? What? Father John Misty. Sorry, trying not to clip your mic here,
No,
but
you're all
like
good.
Father John Misty liked my story? What is going on? I have not received any calls from him, but I'd love to be a part of his touring band at least, because the music he writes is just so freaking beautiful. Stuff like anything from his new album, In 20 Years or So, from Pure Comedy, Hang Out at the Gallows, which is my preferred cover of his. There's some great piano figures all through his 6 albums. I would definitely, going back to James Taylor for a minute, he was the bedrock for all of my songwriting, guitar picking, theoretical. Like, I study music theory, but I just like, make stuff sound good. That kind of thing. And that's why I'd love to collaborate with him, because, like, I feel like musically we would be so much on the same wavelength that it would be impossible not to come up with something good.
Yeah.
Also just fun,
Oh,
fun
dude,
music.
yeah.
Great music, beautiful music, fun music.
Yeah, so kind of moving on a bit. Playing live. You play live a lot. I counted. This was just the ones I counted from your Instagram and posts that you were tagged in. At least 7 gigs in the month of November alone, which is a lot for most musicians. How are you able to book so many?
So, November is a pretty off season. 7 gigs is a little short, but I'll take it. But I'm able to book so many because I am so versatile. Not all of them are booked by me. Some of them are venues that reach out and are like, hey, I want to play. When I first got here, I did more of the booking myself, and then as word got around, hey, this guy is actually pretty good. People started reaching out and being like, you should play here, or do you want to play here? Some of those that I put on the Instagram are not Carter Elliot artist gigs. Boo. No, I'm kidding. They're all gigs that I'm very grateful for, but for example, one of the gigs that I did was Jenny Grace, who I mentioned, in Dallas, Texas. Would I go to Dallas, Texas to play a solo show? If it paid.
I was about to say, if it paid good money.
I don't want to go out of gas, gas money being what it is. I don't want to, spend too much on, like, 1,500 tanks to get there. I'm kidding. It's like 700 miles one way, 1,400 miles round trip, maybe 15. By the way, I do have a friend listening from Dallas. Hello, Tori.
Hi, Tori.
But I would definitely, especially with the band behind me, I would love to go back to Dallas and, be like, yo, this is the show. I've been a musician for a lot of local acts. Like Lisa Law is the big one. She's a great soulful singer that needs a keyboardist every now and again. And who's a keyboardist? I'm a keyboardist, so I play the keyboard for her. I'm able to book so many because I'm versatile, like I said earlier. Not only am I a front man, but I am also a pretty good, side person to have around as well.
Yeah, you're definitely a jack of many, 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 many trades.
Master of a few.
Oh yeah. So when you do all these shows, more specifically solo shows, how do you select set lists?
So for solo shows where I'm playing just Carter Elliot, no band, I don't really make a set list. It's very I used to make set lists, and then I realized, for breweries and bars and other things, it's it's better to have songs that rather than like a set of 25, 30 songs that you're going to stick to. That way, if you feel the crowd shift, you can do something different. You can do something a little more down if the crowd is, feeling it, or you can bump them up with, I like doing a medley of Bad Bad Leroy Brown and Loves Me Like a Rock. That's a good, toe tapper that gets people moving. So I don't really have a set list for my solo shows. For my band shows, however, which I will have done including the one next week, which I'm sure we'll get to soon, 5. And I'd love to do more in 2025. I would love to do more in 2025, so, you know, if anybody's looking around.
Calling
But-
all the venues out there if you want. You can just,
Calling all theaters. I wouldn't want to play like a stadium, but I like amphitheaters and theaters. But for set list for my band, it depends on the duration of the show. Like, I played Diana Street in March, and it was expected that I do 45 minutes. So I picked like 8 songs that I wanted to do. For the big show, which I did recently, it was expected to be about 45 minutes to an hour. And so I picked 11. And what I do is I usually throw 1 to 2 covers in. My band really loves this one called Long Distance Runner by Faith Band, a little-known band who was signed to Mercury Records in the late 70s, but didn't really sell too many copies. They sold so few copies that I bought one secondhand, and it was still in the shrink wrap. But they're good. Long Distance Runner is such a killer song. And, you know, more recognizable stuff, you know, I'm drumming up some more recognizable covers that I will not say in hopes that people will hear them soon. But for my own songs, I try to go, you know, open with a bang, you know, open with a couple of bangs, actually, maybe like 3 bangers in a row, 3, you know, up-tempo heavy hitters, and then maybe take it down a couple of notches, go into like maybe more lush acoustic territory. Then I'll throw some sad stuff in the middle, you know, As I Am being one of those. There's a new song that I wrote, Angel Lights a Cigarette, that I'm definitely playing live from here on out, that it's kind of more in the sad territory, but fun fact, it's about the same person I wrote in A Child of the Small, so, you know, I tend to write about the same 4 or 5 people at the same time, or not at the same time, in different songs. But I always try to end my song. The 2 most important songs in any set list for me are the last 2. How you end the show, how you leave your audience feeling. So I tend to end with my next to last song is pretty much always "You Won't See Me Anymore," which I wrote. If I'm doing that solo, I'll medley it with Yakety Sax, which I whistle, and then "Get Back," the Beatles song. But I haven't had the wherewithal or, you know, confidence to poke the bear that is the band. I'm kidding, they love me and I love them. But I was just like, hey, you want to rehearse "Get Back"? I haven't said that to them yet.
Hey,
I'd love
band,
to at
calling
some
you out
point.
on Maine. You don't rehearse "Get Back"?
Oh my gosh, no. Hey guys, if you want to, let's talk about it on Sunday. But and then I usually end with a nice little delicate acoustic number, something that hasn't been released, either like Sunset Serenade, which is My Farewell to Texas, or Enjoy These Moments, which is the only song that has made my dad, shout out to Dad, cry and then start to send me snail mail. I love that. I love snail mail, guys, by the way. So if you ever need a pen pal, you know who to look for. Or To Go, which is a traveling song, not about fast food or any food. It's just like, you know, 80 miles to go.
Yeah.
So the arc of the set list is very much like start big and then end big and then small. And then what happens in between is just like trying, you know, to ease into different moods without giving your audience whiplash.
Yeah. And so before like your big banger start a song, do you have any pre-show rituals?
Do I have any pre-show rituals? I'm trying to think. I usually use the restroom because I'm not even kidding.
No, that is definitely important.
Oh, it is very important because sometimes I'm playing for 2 hours with no break, and even if I'm taking a little intermission or a little break, if it's a tough room, I get nervous. I refill my water. I make sure I hit the opening notes to Little Phoenix just right before I hit the mic. By the way, Little Phoenix is a song I usually almost always open with that I wrote but have not released, but I'm trying to record this winter. I'm in talks with engineers. Try to make sure of all that, you know, make my rounds, see if there's anybody I know, go say hi to them. I don't really I should probably start getting into meditation or more stringent vocal warm-ups, but I'm just like, you know, I just sing what I will. If it's a really important show, I will brew myself a tea. It is always 2 bags of Earl Grey with a little bit of honey and a little bit of lemon and about 16 ounces of water.
I think it was Anna Shinholster who said the same thing.
Yeah.
Go to the bathroom, get water. Definitely get tea.
Yes.
Mhm.
If it's a very important show, especially with it being December and it being cold and my throat being so fritzy, tea is important.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I will not pass that up this time of year.
I don't know if the listeners can hear, but every now and then one of us has to kind of go away from the mic and go because.
Oh yeah, I really hope you can't hear that. I apologize if you can.
This is December, fun month, changing seasons.
Merry Crisis.
Merry Chrysler. So what do you think makes you stand out as a live performer?
Energy. All the way energy.
That's a very big part of it, yeah.
So I am so much better with the band. The band that I work with brings my music to life in ways that I could never have imagined 2 years ago when I first came here, but holy cow, they do it so well. But when I'm by myself, if I'm given the room to move around, I like to move around. I like to, stamp my feet. I got, there's a guy named Delenn Christian who is in Woodbury doing his own radio thing in the very early morning. But he performs live as well. And when he performs live, he is borderline unhinged. I have told people he is a monster, and I love him. He moves around, he stamps his feet, he rotates his hips, all that kind of thing to make sure the crowd's engaged. I love to do that. I love to incorporate little gags into my, when I play High Water live, I hold out that last note as long as I can. I check my watch. I've gotten up to 20 seconds before on that note. So, my breath control has gotten crazy. But when I'm with a band, take that times 10. It is so fun. We actually filmed something last month with a different bassist. Garrett could not make it, so if you see that discrepancy, that's why. Her name is Katie Eckhoff, and she came in really, really, really well for that show. So shout out to her for that. But it was so amplified. I'm looking forward to seeing that when it comes out.
Do you have any idea when it may come out?
It was supposed to come out yesterday, but I think there were some edits that still needed to be made. It is in somebody else's hands. So when I have that information, I'll happily pass it along to you.
All right, yeah, awesome. So
And, of course, I'll let my social media know when it comes out as well.
So definitely somewhat soon, at the very least.
Yeah, they have to put it out before they graduate. It's somebody's capstone project, and graduation
okay.
is December the 14th, 2024. So 9 days from now. So it has to come out soon.
Awesome, yeah. Do you have any, like a best or worst gig story?
Interesting. I came across that question, and I was like, what do I say? I think the one that shocked me the most was when I played a show at Diana Street, and the cops came and shut us down.
Uh-oh.
Due to noise complaints. I am easily spookable, and that spooked the living daylights out of me. That's not necessarily like a best or worst show story. That's just like oh my gosh, I am scared. I think my worst show may have been like December the 29th, 2022 at Mayday Brewery. Mayday Brewery is a brewery. It was a brewery run by a really, really incredible guy named Ozzie Nelson. It was the first place that made me feel accepted and loved. But the reason it was so bad is my guitar pickup went to crap in the middle of the gig.
No.
And in the middle of the gig, we were just like trying to figure out, trying to get a mic, trying to do all that. And I had come back early for this gig, and my throat was on the fritz, and it was so bad. And it was nothing against Mayday, and it was nothing against the Aussie. It was nothing against Aussie or anything like that. It was all due to that guitar pickup. Technical malfunctions will really put a damper in your show. Now, the best show I've done so far is the big show, which was last month with my current band, Josh, Garrett, and Slade. By the way, I've had two previous drummers who I want to shout out right quick, Mayor Moody and Mike Van Hootie. If you were listening, thank you so much.
That sounds like a band within itself, Mayor Moody and Mike Van Hootie. they got to join up and do like a double drumming thing.
That would be so funny, like the Phil Collins and Chester Thompson thing.
Yes.
Yeah. That would be incredible. Phil and Chester.
Just do all of
going
Live
at-
Aid
oh my
again.
gosh. Yes. What?
Yeah, that was Live Aid, wasn't it?
Not Live Aid. Chester was Phil's touring drummer from 1978 to 2011.
Oh, okay.
Live Aid, Phil Collins joined Led Zeppelin with one other drummer.
Oh, okay. That's probably what I'm thinking of then.
And then he went to Pennsylvania and did something else.
I know he did. He was on Money for Nothing.
I think
during
so.
one-
Yeah.
one of- yeah.
He was the only artist to play both the UK and the US Live Aid.
That must
Fun
have been a
fact.
crazy day for him.
Oh yeah, you can read about it in his autobiography. There's a whole chapter dedicated to that. He was crashing out by the end. He was crashing out so hard he forgot he was supposed to sing a line in "We Are the World" and went home. But they go home anyway. But my best show so far has been the big show at the Chris Young Cafe. Pretty soon that won't be my best show. It'll be my second best show just because I'm
Ooh.
doing another show next week that is much larger in scale with backup singers and a 19-song set, maybe 20 if I include As I Am. But that is soon to be my best show because, like, I rehearsed the vocalists last night, Anna Shenholster and Josh Garner again, and holy cow, it has sounded so good, y'all. I cannot wait.
Backing vocals go hard.
They
for lack
elevate.
of a better term. Absolutely.
They elevate the song, and what you can do with at least two people flanking you, and your flanking is not the right word, but I'm going to go with it. What you can do with at least two people by your side singing different parts or different notes. Oh my gosh, I'm a sucker for 3-part harmony, y'all. It's my favorite. Yeah. It's my favorite.
I heard, I think it was you, Anna Shinholster, and I think Josie James too, doing like 3-part harmonies over in Bragg, but just like kind of over there in Bragg.
Yes.
The other day.
We were doing stuff like Creep and Tennessee Whiskey and
I heard
Frosty the
Creep,
Snowman,
yeah.
and it was so fun. Beautiful harmonies. I love being a part of any 3-piece singing group. It's
Awesome.
so nice.
So, we're getting pretty close to the end.
Aw.
First, do you have any advice for artists who want to play live?
Email. Well, just keep emailing people. That's advice that I've gotten recently as well. Keep emailing people, even if they don't answer your previous email. Sometimes they'll get lost in the inbox. If you get to the point where you are playing live, it is okay to be nervous. Don't let the audience know. Just feed off of their good reception. If you know you're a strong performer and you're doing your best, present that confidence. Present that you are the performer that you are going to be. You are great. Don't let your nerves stand in your way. It's okay to be nervous. I'm not saying to tamp them down or anything, but maybe use that energy to feed into some really good songs.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're graduating soon.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just give us a really brief description of what might be next?
So I'm already booking some side shows, sideman shows, playing guitar and piano for other people for 2025, some sessions. I'm continuing to freelance because I'm currently, making most of my rent and utilities doing that. And so I'm continuing to do that. I'm hoping that after my show at Hop Springs next week, on December the 12th, which, if you'd like to come, it's at Hop Springs on December the 12th at 7 o'clock p.m. Anna Shinholster is opening, and Josh Garner, Slade Moore, Garrett Tonis, and Anna Shinholster are backing me up. It'll be a fun night. But after that, hopefully get some footage and send that to people who might be interested in what we do.
Awesome. Now, we're coming to the end of the show. I got, 4 questions I have to ask everyone. Number 1. You said a little bit, you got one coming up very soon.
Yes.
Upcoming live shows.
So tomorrow night, December the 6th, I'm playing at Burrow Bourbon and Brews in Murfreesboro from 4 to 7. Up until that, after that, my next show isn't until December the 12th, which is the Hop Springs show at 7 o'clock p.m. On December. I keep on saying that. I'm going to shut up now. That is a celebration for the culmination of my college career and upcoming graduation. The 3rd week of December, I'm playing. Where all am I playing? I'm playing Burrow Bourbon and Brews on Friday the 20th. I'm playing Teddy's Tavern in downtown Nashville on the 21st and one other day, and then I've got something in the middle of the week that I forgot about because I'm not looking at my calendar.
I was about to say, this for everyone listening, he doesn't have a paper in front of him saying all these dates. He just has them memorized, which I find crazy. I'm terrible with dates.
Bum-ba-da-dum.
Anything you want to say to the listeners?
Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. If there are any friends that are still listening after all the yapping that I have done, thank you for entertaining this yapping, both on the air and in real life. I love you so much.
Awesome. Anyone you want to shout out?
So I've already shouted out so many people on this. Every name that I've dropped is a name that I'd like to shout out. And I won't repeat them because I've repeated them so many times, but people I haven't shouted out or want to, special emphasis. My my mom's parents, my grandparents, both sets of grandparents actually, really, have been very supportive in my music career. My parents for letting me go on this crazy roller coaster of a journey in music. Anybody who's ever listened to my music and supported it. Josie James briefly came up. She recently wrote an article on the piano album. And there are so many people, the professors here, all my friends here. I can't name them all in a little bit of time, but know that I love you all. I really appreciate you. And if you think you're getting a shout out from that general blanket statement, chances are you're getting a shout out.
Awesome. I got to have you back on just so we can do an hour-long show of you reading out names.
I'd like to thank the Academy. Yeah.
All right, final thing. Instagram, Spotify. Where can people find you?
Spotify is Carter Elliot, CarterElliott. Instagram is Carter Elliot Music, spelled the same way as Carter Elliot, just with the music attached at the end, no spaces. Apple Music is the same, Carter Elliot, CarterElliott. TikTok is the same as Instagram. Facebook is CPELLIOTT Music.
Awesome. Time for me to plug my stuff.
Woo.
I am LUVOL. Well, I'm James, but I am LUVOL. That's spelled L-U-V-O-L and not Louisville. People get that confused all the time. L-U-V-O-L. If you want to check out... What was that?
He's not a Kentucky, y'all.
No, I am not. I am Nashville, born and bred. Let's see. I got YouTube that will go up on in a couple of days. If you want to check that out, it's just LUVOL on YouTube. If you can't find it on YouTube, you can find it through my Instagram, which is LUVOL_music, if you want to check that out. I think that's all. Thank you very much for being here, Carter.
Thank you.
And now we'll fade out to the soothing sounds of Thanks for Coming by Yara Asmar. Thank you, everyone.